Cheers. Are you going to be a little needy beady again and want to come up on the couch with me? Is that what's happening? If you could see this face. Hello. I know, Bubba, but why don't you stay down there in your little snuggle sack? Okay, give you a minute to get on while I shuffle around, make myself uncomfortable. I'm living my best 80s fantasy today with my enormous curly hair and leggings and like thigh-high leg warmer. Oh! It's like, fuck it. I'm getting dressed like Jane fucking Fonda. That's how I felt this morning. Hey, Jess. Also, very important things, obviously, before we get into the main topic. I'm also thinking about, so my roots are coming through, right? And every time my roots come through, there's a little bit more grey. There's some cool, like, streaks. And I'm wondering whether I actually just let it grow out now. You know? Do I just own all of my fabulousness and just, like, fully go for let the grey come? You know? Do I do that? My mum's hair is completely, like, silvery and she's rocking it. So maybe I should just do the same. I mean, my mum was like in her 70s, just so we clear that up. Come on then. I knew this would happen. He wants to get up with me. Give me 1 second and then we'll get into the sermon. Oh my God, what's going on here? This light's hitting me in a weird way. Come on then. Up you come, Bubba. Oh, there you go with your long sausagey body. Okay, I know. Yes, life is so tough for you. There you go. Ugh. Hey, cat. See who we have. So far I can see Jess and Kat. And say hello. Sometimes the comments don't show straight away, which is really annoying. Oh, this is gonna annoy me. What's going on here? Like some kind of moisturizer situation. Is that better? Can you tell that I'm a Leo moon and rising? Can you? My Leo's showing. Wow. Yes, hello, I see you. I see you on my lap. It's very sweet. So, just grounding into what I want to say. This started coming through yesterday for me, but then I got sidetracked. Not sidetracked, but another message was more prominent, and so I allowed that to flow through. And then when I was just on my walk right now, this came back through. And I thought, yeah, that's actually a really important thing that I want to speak on today, because this is something that I experience. Oh, excuse me, and we're off. This is something that I experience a lot when I say when I'm in a growth phase, like I'm ever not in a growth phase, but particularly when I'm actively leaning into that bigger desire, that bigger thing, that next step. And ooh, I'm gonna take these little bracelets off because they're very pretty, but they keep jingling and jangling. And if I was watching a live stream and that was happening, I'd be like auditory overload. So the idea of you can't drag the carcasses of your past self, you just can't forever. I mean, you can, if that feels good to you. But for me personally, when I start to notice that I'm moving forward, I'm living more deeply into myself, particularly as a 6 line, we have these 3 very distinct life stages. And my, moving from my 30s into my 40s, so I'm 38 now, I'm going to be 39 in April. And there's that kind of, I'm starting to move into the kind of like the real second beginning of the 3rd section. And So I understand that for a 6 line, that's quite normal, that we have like these distinct chunks of time that we can kind of look back on our life and be like, oh yeah, that's when I was making all the mistakes and bumping into life and having to learn all the things and trial and error. And then we have that moment where I am at the moment where I'm kind of on the roof, like seeing what did work, what didn't work, and then teaching from that place, learning to more deeply embody the truths that I know. And then obviously there's that final phase where it all clicks and integrates fully. But I don't believe that we have to wait. I think that as long as you are aware of what is happening, you can very much live into whichever phase of it you feel to. So I am still allowed to make mistakes and learn from them. And I'm also allowed to own the expertise, the genius, and the lessons that I have already learned and speak from that place, right? One of the past versions of myself that came up this week that I wanted to just speak to you about was, it's Noli's story time. I'm going to tell you the story. Nestle in and grab you a cup of tea, we're going in. So I was in London pottering around Selfridges with my friend. We just bought these most incredible stuffed cookies. They're like sex in the mouth. They were so good. That doesn't sound quite as delicious when I put that into a... maybe rethink that one. They were very delicious. Yum. And I got, as I was like in this like real delicious moment of enjoying just being in this situation, we had Wi-Fi, so we both checked our phones. And hey Gabriella, nice to have you live. So I checked my phone and I had a message on Instagram from somebody who I have worked with in the past, like not for quite some time, and even would go as far as to say that, you know, at one point we're probably quite friendly, I would imagine, you know, like I wouldn't necessarily say this is a colleague or a client or whatever. I just like, they're kind of just a friend. In that way that, you know, clients and people that you teach can kind of become friends. It's like, you know, anyway, I'm not going to bother explaining. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it. Anyway, this person reached out to me who I adore. Like, I absolutely love this human. I think they're fucking amazing. I think that's what I'm trying to illustrate by like the friend or like trying to categorize a relationship. I just think this human is, they have so, like, there's so much potential in this person. I see so much of myself in them as well, which is always kind of fun for me. I think they're a bit younger than me. And I absolutely adore them. I think they're fucking powerful, incredible. They've got a lot to share with the world. They're here for a purpose. I feel it in them. But they have, you know, done some work with me in the past, and then they've kind of come and gone and never really committed to working with me long term. So when they reached out to me this time, because I adore this human, when they reached out to me and said, you know, I think I really need to work with you on this, I was like, fuck, amazing, like, let's go. So I said, I'm going to send you some options, which I did. And they got back to me and said, oh, I'm not really looking for that. I was really just looking for like a one-off clearing session, and then I'd take it from there myself. And the beautiful thing was, my initial response was just to respond and say, that's awesome, no problem. No, I don't really do that anymore. If you feel that you want to do the deeper work with me, those are the options. Or I'm also really happy to refer you to somebody else who does one-off sessions. And I know they're really good. I refer people to them all the time. And then, you know, that was it. I didn't hear back from them, and that was done. And it was only about 2 or 3 hours later where I was like, there was a time where if someone who I really liked, and I know this person, whenever they work with me, has like instant results. Like, I've seen it every single time they work with me. Boom, they get exactly what they want. I've seen it every time. So in my mind, it's a no-brainer, right? Like, oh, if I get results with someone when I work with them and they say, look, these are my offerings, if I know they're the person I want to work with, I buckle down, I do the thing, I say yes. If I can find the money, I make it happen. That's just the person that I am. It's who I've always been. And so I'm actually only available for that now. And there was a time where I would have allowed myself to kind of get a little bit shaky on my boundaries around it because of how much I really love working with this person. And I get like a bit of a dopamine hit from their results as well because they're so instant and magical. But then only we can make the decisions that are going to guide us to where we're going. And if I had said yes to doing a one-off session for this person, I would have had to try and price it, and I don't have a pricing for that. I would have had to kind of go against what my sacral and my whole being was saying to me is for me now. And I really would have been doing that because I'd have been playing into their idea of their own smallness, right? To do the level of work that people want to do, to really achieve the things that people want to achieve when they come into my world, it's not a one and done situation. It's not a, okay, we'll do one clearing session and then suddenly everything's, it's like we do the clearing work and then you remain in a container with me, whether that's one-to-one Telegram, whether it's, you know, the portal, whether it's my higher level one-on-one, whether it's doing a program like Charisma, whatever it is. It's so important to me now to be available to people after that clearing session because I'm used to doing this work. I do it all the fucking time. And yet I still sometimes go, oh fuck, everything's falling down around me. What the holy fucking balls? And it's nice to have people reflect back to me like, oh no, it's just because the clearing work. Like, don't worry. It's like, oh fuck yeah, of course I did that massive clear the other day. Of course that's why that's happening. So I'm very aware of the potency of the clearing work that I do. And so I desire to create space for people where they can indulge and enjoy the clearings or experience that and receive support and reflection afterwards so that they can remember, okay, yeah, we cleared that thing, holy fuck, and so that they can share their wins and we can expand and celebrate because that's part of the fun. And more than anything, above and beyond any of these pieces, really all that's important is that when I felt into my body about creating something just for this person that was a one-off clearing session, one and done, off they go, I could feel in my body it was a big no. And I could feel in my body, this person might think that this is what they need, but when I feel into what they're actually, what we're going to be working through, this is just, and this is a pattern, right? Because I used to do this as well. So I see this and I see it in people as well in my community sometimes where it's like, I'll just do this one thing because that's what I can afford. I'll do this one little thing. And then what? And then what? You deserve so much more. Like, that more than anything, you just fucking deserve so much more support than that. You deserve so much more growth than that. And I think sometimes what I find confusing is that maybe this is like my six-line ability to just like zoom out and see the fucking epic potential in every human. But when people come and they're like, oh, this is enough for me. Like, this is doable. This is, I can handle this. I'll just do this. And then I'll see how I feel. I'm like, you already know how you feel. You're just allowing yourself to dim down the desire that you know you have because for some reason you feel like you've got to put it off. Or the other one that I'm like, that my little six brain goes, huh? What now? Why? It's like people don't actually see that it's all available to them like right now. Like, and all they have to do is say yes to the thing that they want. That really confuses me. I'm like, huh. And when I get a lot of those people showing up in my world, like if it happens a few times, I'm like, oh, what am I not saying yes to? Like, what am I not really fully committing to? What am I still holding back on? And so I always use it as a point of self-reflection. But at every level that I go through, every time I evolve, every time I grow, there's always these little moments in between where people from the past will sneak in, or someone who's been watching for a while will kind of like pop in, slide into my DMs and say they want to work with me, and they want to work with an old version of me. They want to work with a past self version of me. What I understand now, and this is the key here, so buckle up kids, we're going in. When this person reached out to me, they wanted to work with the person who I used to be when they last worked with me. And that person was not super confident in like holding their pricing, still making allowances for people that they really like mates, you know, mates rates. Oh, we'll do a freebie, we can do a swap, like no, fucking pay me and I'll pay you, because I respect you enough to pay you what you charge. And I made that distinction about 4 years ago when a beautiful friend of mine was my PT at the time, personal trainer. And she said to me, oh, you know, don't worry, like, you don't have to pay me for this one, we'll just do a swap. Or, oh, don't worry, like, you don't have to pay me full price, like, let's work out. And I'd be like, no, I don't want you to do mates rates for me. I want to pay you full price because I want your full investment in me, so I'm going to invest fully in you. And I also said to her, and I know at some point you're going to come to me for business advice and business coaching, and I'm not going to drop my prices for you. And she was like, baller, okay, let's go. Because I really do respect the fact that people put a price on something for a reason, and I don't expect them to drop that price for me. So what is interesting about the version of me that this person was really expecting to receive, and I mean, they weren't arsy or anything, I think they were just like, okay, cool, this isn't what you do anymore. But what it showed me was, oh, there's still, I'm obviously still on some level, there's a part of me, a piece of an old identity that I'm being shown right now, I'm being reminded of, that I obviously need to just have a little word with. So the version of myself that came up was, I'm like doing this because it was like they were like over there. They felt like they were over there, like off to my left. And this version of me showed up, and it was, I get goosebumps because this version of me created so much of the success and the lifestyle that I have right now purely by being the catalyst to some big decisions that led me on this path in the first place. So I'm forever grateful, and I adore and love that version of myself. It was the version of me that was, I remember being in a taxi, being driven home, and chatting to the taxi driver about what I did, which was just pure EFT back then, and giving him my card because he was so fascinated. He was like, I really feel like I need to get in on this. Like, do you have any content? Do you have a card? Or I was like, yeah, here's my card. I was so committed and so fucking in love and passionate about what I was doing and creating in the world. I could not fucking shut up about it. I would talk about it to anyone who would listen. Even my taxi driver, who probably had no fucking interest in EFT and like dissolving traumas. But somehow, because of my passion in it, he was really interested and asked if he could have my card. I'm like, great, yeah, like, let's go. So that version of me who worked 5 days a week in a full-time job that was very taxing, and then on a Sunday took clients on and did 90-minute sessions for starting at £30, did 90-minute in-person sessions, like 3 or 4. I was booked because I was magnetic as fuck, and I love what I did. And I still love what I do. It's just different. It's just evolved. It's just a lot more expansive than it used to be. But that version of me back there would have done anything because she fucking loved what she was doing so much. And of course I hadn't learned all the things that I know now. So I was doing exactly, when I look back and like, that is exactly, it's still what I do. I still come and be incredibly passionate talking about the stuff that I'm doing and the things that I'm interested in. That is still a part of, you know, if we were going to break it down, I hate this fucking word, but it'd be like a strategy. But really, if someone was to look at what I do, that's effectively what I do. I create something I feel very passionate about. I show up with passion. I talk about it from a very fucking genuine place of how much I know this shit's going to change people's lives. And at the moment, that's Charisma, the offering that I'm creating right now. And I look at this past version of me and I'm like, if she could see what we've built, if she could see what we've built, she and I, on our own, with, when I say on our own, I don't mean I've not had support, I've not had mentors, of course I have. But ultimately, it is you that is going to make the decisions to invest in those people. It is you that is going to see that nudge from the universe and go, fuck yes, I'm in. That's you that does that. And nobody can take that away from you. And one of the reasons why I don't do manipulative fucking bullshit sales calls or whatever, and people come to me and I don't manipulate them to buy something from me, is because of this. Because I want them to know that, yes, of course I'm fucking amazing and I help them and I'm a badass, and if they work with me, shit's gonna grow exponentially. Oh, fucking course, like I have no doubt. However, I want them to walk away from it and walk into that relationship knowing that they said yes. This was their decision. So when they get these wins, yes, they're all fucking grateful and we celebrate together and they're like, oh my God, Nolly, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. You know, like there's this mutual respect and love between us. But I want them to walk away knowing that it was them who put the work in. It was them who received my message, who said yes and invested. That's really important to me. So when I look back at what this version of me and I have created and what I have grown through, so many fucking things I've had to face in myself, the traumas, the patterns, the absolute fucking cunt that lives inside of me that would fucking rip a shred off of somebody. There are many, many sides to all of us. And it's only when we reconcile those parts of ourselves and begin to understand why and how they served us that we can love them, forgive them, release them, or reintegrate them, whatever we need to do. When I looked back at that past side of myself, there was a part of me that I saw in her that I was like, oh, do I still have that drive? Do I still have that passion? I was like, yeah, it just shows up in a different way. It's just matured. It's not like trying to convince everybody that they've got a nail that needs to be put in the wall and I've got the fucking hammer. Do you know what I mean? Like I just show up and I just speak from an embodied truth of the work that I do. I am the example of what this can do for you. I continue to live into being the example of what this work can do for you. That me back then was still very committed to using the work on herself. And you know what? Even from the start, I did about, I remember actually, I did like, I think a set of swaps with one guy who was a lot more experienced than me at EFT. I did, I think, 3 sessions, swaps. And I just remember thinking, he's getting way more out of this than I am. And I already knew, I'm fucking good at this. He might have been doing this longer, but I'm actually better at it than he is. And you know what? It's okay to own that. It's okay to own that even if you haven't been creating art as long as somebody, or even if you haven't been coaching or using energy work as long as as long as somebody else has, if you're not getting anything from it and you're doing like swaps with them because you think they're like some kind of hero, be honest with yourself about whether or not you're actually receiving as much as you think you are. Because as soon as I was like, shit, can I really own that? And I started to look at my business and I was like, yeah, I actually can, because I've already got more clients than he has. I'm already speaking about this. And I was like looking at him like, why aren't you out there running EFT trainings? Why aren't you out there telling people what you do? Why are you, with this level of experience that you preach to have, why are you sitting here with a newbie doing swaps? And it was then that I was like, that doesn't make much sense to me. That doesn't align for me and it doesn't feel good. You know, like there's obviously something in that person's self-belief that they don't, either that or they were just like a creepy man trying to like get close to a young lady. I don't know, it could have been either of those things. But either way, like this emoji, no, nil point. So when I saw this past version of myself a couple of days ago, I had to get honest with myself about something that was coming through. Was like a sense of self-betrayal. It was almost like if I don't say yes to doing that kind of work anymore, where people reach out and I just do like a one-off session because I just like them, the millionaire version of me, who is already, who's already creating millions, that version of me who I'm expanding into, deepening into right now, that person that I am creating from the inside right now, are they doing that? No, they're not fucking doing that. They're probably not even answering their DMs, to be fair. A lot of them have got someone to do that for them. So it just made me really sit and think, like, this is a real-time opportunity for me to fully stand in the integrity of who I'm becoming. And that's something that you can do for yourself as well, today and in every moment moving forward from now. Is this decision in integrity with my highest and best self? Is this in integrity with the version of myself that I desire to truly embody and become? Right? And sometimes you're going to have to make some hard decisions about that. Sometimes you're going to see a past version of yourself that you absolutely adore, that you respect, that you love, that you are so grateful to, and you may feel, and this was the, just kind of like, this was like the weird thing that came through. I was like, can't believe I'm still holding that, but I am, was a sense of like, I'm like a self-betrayal. It was almost like I was betraying that past version of myself and like being dismissive of, that's what it was. It was like being dismissive of, and like some kind of like some level of like betrayal around who she is and what she stands for, and like just wanting to help everyone. And back then I just wanted to help everyone. I wanted to save everybody. I wanted to fix everybody. I wanted to be the rescuer and the caretaker. Excuse me. And I've done so much work on those archetypes and those parts of my identity that it was like this version of me, I could see her more clearly. And I just saw the absolute beam of light that she was and that she is. And I just kind of reminded her, like, this is where we are now. And in order for us to move to our next level or embody the next level, I need to let you go. And it's not that she has to die or I have to forget about her completely. She's still a part of who I am. But I have to become more invested in becoming the person I know I am now and that I am growing into. I have to be more invested in that version of myself than I am in the past version of myself. Yeah? So it's not a betrayal. And the final piece here was this person that reached out to me, and the interaction we had reminded me of that version of me, but it also reminded me that I've always known that there was something bigger, that I was meant to drop even more deeply, that I was meant to have more eyes on me, that I was meant to have more of an impact. I didn't start this business thinking I'm just going to work in a room in my fucking friend's salon on a Sunday next to her nail bar. I didn't just think like, oh, one day I'm going to have an office where people will come and see me. You know, even from the beginning, it was like, I'm going to have an online empire. And as soon as I got to the point where I want to move all my business online, like back in the day when I started in the oldie times, before the Tinterwebs coaching industry started to explode, you know, when I told people like, oh yeah, I'm going to be taking all of my clients online now, so you've got this long, and then after that we're going to move online, and I start to be like, oh my God, can I really charge the same? Do I have to put my prices down because they're not going to get to be in my company and all that stuff? So I've been through all those parts of the journey. I've done it all. I've had people be doubtful at me, like a lot, really thinking about it. And now I just don't really tell anyone what I'm doing. I just kind of do it, and then it works. And if it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, that didn't work. What's next? You know, so it didn't work. It's like, oh, I learned something, right? How can I apply that to the next thing, rather than being like, oh my God, it didn't work. You know, it doesn't mean anything about me. It's like, what does mean something about me is how fucking resilient I am, and how creative I am, and how inspired I am, and, you know, all of that good stuff. So yeah, that's my rant for the day, I think. I don't know if you guys have been commenting. I haven't seen any comments, but I will come back and check. Sometimes Facebook just doesn't want to show me, just wants me to let the words fall out of my face. So yeah, that's what I feel to share today. Is there anything else? Yeah, it's interesting. It's like there's like this little version of me in my heart who's just so happy and grateful for my continual commitment to making bold decisions and actually following through on stuff. And there's almost like this little voice inside me that's like, just keep going, just keep going. And for such a long time, there were voices inside of me that would say, you're a piece of shit, you know, it's never going to happen. Why would anyone want to work with you? And those voices are so, like, even saying that and like it doesn't, I don't feel anything about it. It's almost hard to even get the words out because it's so far from where I am now. It doesn't have any resonance with me anymore. So when we say in this industry, like, you're always going to have doubts and you're always going to have fear, and you just get to move with them and move through them and do the thing anyway. I think what maybe is neglected is that at the beginning, the doubts and the fears are almost all you hear. And it feels like an uphill struggle, and it feels like every decision you make is hard work. But the more of this work we do, and I just love that, I just seen a PayPal notification come through as I'm talking to you guys. I have this belief, and I have seen it so many times, every time I do a live stream I make money. It's like, I just decided that, and so it is. It's happened for years, it's great. I don't have to do a live stream to make money, but when I do a live stream I always make money. It's just the way that it is. Ding! So, let me just real quick remind you that charisma is my latest offering, and here's the really exciting thing about this. It's already evolving. It's already evolving and changing. The core is still the same. It's about embodying your unique essence, your charisma, and bringing that forward in your life and in your content. It's about using it in your business. And it's always about, with me, this deeper identity work around, like, what parts of ourselves do we need to release? How do I really know who I am? Like, what does that even look and feel like? How do you know what step to take next if you're still always questioning, like, who the fuck am I, right? So being in my energetic field will anchor you into who you are at your core. Yeah, we do the work around it, of course. But you can probably feel it, right? This bitch knows who she is. I fucking know who I am. I've always known who I am. I've questioned it at times. I've been like, oh, should I really do that? Can I really do that? But I've always known, like, you know, I'm that bitch. And I want to help you be that bitch. Sometimes I forget. I'm like, oh, I forgot who I was. And then I remember that I'm a motherfucking racehorse. You know, like, I'm not a donkey. I'm a fucking racehorse. And when I own that about myself, magical shit happens in my life and in my business. And I want to be by your side when you have those fucking realizations. And that is what we're going to create in charisma. I want you to see how fucking incredible you are. And the great thing, I remember one of my clients saying to me about 2 years ago when he was working with me, he was like, fucking hell, Noli, every time I do what you tell me, it fucking works. And he was so annoyed because he was like, nah, that's never going to work. And I was like, just fucking do it. Because that's the relationship I have with my clients. Just fucking do it and then come at me when you make a fuck ton of money from it. You're welcome. And then he came back and he was like, fuck you. It always works when I do what you tell me to do. Fuck. And we laughed about it. But that's just how it is in my world. That's just how it is when you have that level of proximity to me. This person actually had, like me, one-to-one access on Telegram. But when you have that level of proximity to me and you can ask me the questions and you can bring your doubt to the table and I can remind you who the fuck you are, shit moves so quick. And then what you do is, because we had this rapid expansion when we worked together, you literally, you know, all that evidence you've got of the past, all that evidence that things won't work, or that things have to be hard, or it has to take time, we have to do X, Y, Z way, and surely it can't be that easy. In the time that we work together, 2 weeks feels like fucking 2 years because so much changes for a start. Like, the portal's been going for under a month and already it is fucking insane how much ground we've covered in there and what is happening for people who are like fully invested in the process. I love it. But when you come and work with me in this way, the closer proximity you have to me, the more rapid the shifts, because you can ask me whatever the fuck you want. You can bring your doubt and your fears to the table. I'll remind you who the fuck you are, and off you go. And what we do is, effectively, we're creating positive evidence, right? We're just showing you, like, between us, we're just showing you that roadmap and being like, Remember that time last week when you trusted your intuition, even though you were really fucking scared and that magical thing happened? Yeah. Well, you know that fear you're feeling today? Same as it was last week. Bullshit fear. You know what to do the thing, let's go. I just remind you of who the fuck you are, because that's all I see and experience with you. When you come to me, you tell me all this stuff like, oh, I'm so scared, I'm so like, but who am I to? I'm like, I'll tell you who you are. You're fucking you. That's who you are. You are that motherfucking bitch. That's who you are. So who are you not to? That's really the point. That's my rant and my sermon for today. Thank you so much for joining me, whether it's live or on the replay. Hopefully I can see comments and things when I log out. Yeah, if you want to join me in Charisma, if you've got any questions, drop me a DM. Please type it out. I don't listen to voice messages unless they're from clients. And is there anything else I want to say to you? Yeah, just if you've got any questions, feel free to either drop me a message or tag me in the comments below. Please do tag me if you have a question about charisma. And also, obviously, if you just already know that you want in, then fucking hit the button. Like, what are you even waiting for at this point? You know it's going to be magic. Love you, bye!